Near the beginning of this week's parasha of Pinchas, HaKadosh Baruch Hu commands the Jewish people to wage war against the nation of Midyan, the nation that had attempted to trick them into sin during the incident of Baal Peor that we read about at the end of last week's parasha. Many of the Meforshim have questioned why this command was directed solely at Midyan and not Moav. After all, even a brief reading of the Baal Peor story reveals that Midyan's involvement seems to relate only to Cosbi, the Midianite princess who engaged in a public act of sin with an Israelite man, while Moab was behind the entire plot. So why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu command a war against Midian and not against Moab? Rashi, relying on a medrash found in the Gemara, explains that Moab did indeed deserve the same military response as Midian, but they were spared due to the merit of Ruth, who would be born in Moab many generations later. Later in Matot, Rashi offers a different explanation, stating that Moab's involvement was different than Midian's because Moab's involvement was motivated by fear rather than pure hostility. They were a neighboring country of Amori, whose land had been captured by the Jewish people, and therefore they were afraid of the attack. Midian, however, lived quite a distance from where the Jews were and participated in this scheme purely out of hatred and therefore deserved to be attacked. The Ramban, on the other hand, provides a different explanation. He claims that HaKadosh Baruch Hu guaranteed Moab's security as a reward to the kindness shown by their ancestor Lot toward his uncle Avram. And therefore, based on that, Moab remained safe, but Midian was still going to find the revenge of the Jewish people. Finally, Rav Shamshon Raphael Hirsch takes an entirely different approach, noting the present tense employed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu in describing the guilt of the Midyan people. Tzrorat HaMidyanim oppress the Midianites, Kitzorarim Hem, because they are oppressing you. It appears that Moab had actually stopped their efforts after successfully and tragically causing the deaths of 24,000 Jewish men following the sin of Baal Peor. However, Midian never stopped. Kitzorarim Hem, as they sought to avenge the death of Cosbi, the Midianite princess, who was killed by Pinchas while committing that public outrage. HaKadosh Baruch Hu emphasizes in this context that Midyan continued to plot against the Jews, both as part of their ongoing desire to lure them to sin and to avenge their princess's death. Rav Hirsch therefore explains that Midyan's efforts persisted, and therefore it was Midyan who needed to be attacked, who needed to be stopped more than Moav.